I've worked with hundreds of women entrepreneurs to help them market their businesses. Behind their businesses, they all have stories to tell. Whether it's battling mommy guilt, starting a business after being fired from a six-figure job, or realizing they needed to pivot and forge an uncharted path, they've all experienced something on their journey to success. I'm one of these women too, and I'm here to share our stories on Bright Girls in Business. What's up, everybody? It is Chanel Yarber here with another episode of the Bright Girls in Business show. I am your host. I'm the curator. I am the Bright Girl. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, it is at the Bright Girl. You can follow me personally. You can also follow Bright Girl Media on social media, and you'll get a taste of me there too. But I'm just excited today. I know last week we talked and we said that we were bringing on a power couple this week. But I got a call from someone, actually you probably know her if you've been watching the show. She interviewed me when I first came back on air, and she slid somebody in here that I really want to talk to. And we are talking to Miss Sheena King today, who is a candidate for Texas State Representative for House District 61. And we are talking about all things midterm elections. It is super important. If you know anything about me, you know that I am very civically engaged, and I am very passionate about social justice and all those things. So I just had to bring this topic before you today because it is timely. Early elections have already started, so we're going to jump right in and welcome Miss Sheena King.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes,
excited to be here.
Thank you for. I'm just glad that I was able to get you on the show actually before your campaign ended, because I'm like, okay, this is timely. I don't want to waste time, after the fact. Because at first I was like, can I get her on in November? And then I was like, nah, she needs to get before the people before. So thank you for making time so quickly to come. So Absolutely. So I'm going to tell the people a little bit about you based upon your bio. So you're a fourth generation Texan, which is extremely rare here.
Yes.
Here in the Metroplex. If you live here or know anything about the Metroplex, everybody is a transplant. So you've been here, not your parents, not your great-grandparents.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
That's amazing. You're a business leader, a mother of 3 adult children, and you spent your professional career in financial services, correct?
Yes, insurance and financial services.
Awesome. So this year you're putting your hat in the ring and you're running for Texas State Representative. So what does a Texas State Representative do? What's your oversight?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the oversight would include making legislation, so making bills that actually impact all of our lives, making sure that we have constitutional amendments that will help us ensure that Texas stays sound. And we have also oversight for any impeachment if we needed to exercise that right. So those are the 3 major ones. The budget is also part of that oversight as well. So all things Texas.
Okay, I love it. And I know, I'm pretty sure you have a deep love for Texas, just being that this is your home. You've been here, your family's been here.
Yes.
Just tell us a bit about your story and what made you decide to even run for office.
Yeah, so again, being a native Texan, I love this state and I love everything about it. And I just started to see it was deteriorating, right? I want my children, my grandchildren, your grandchildren to stay here, to live here, to play here, to thrive, and want to bring up their families here. But the way it was going, based on the past legislative session, it didn't appear that anybody was going to thrive. Everyone was under attack, whether you are a trans child, whether you are a parent, whether you are a woman. Everybody was under attack. Even voting rights was under attack. So it was going in the wrong direction, and I just kept waiting for somebody somewhere to do something. And I kept looking around, wondering who's going to do something, who's going to help protect us. And God just said, you know what? I created you. So I just had to be obedient to him and try and lean into what he was calling me to do. And really, that's been the journey of this campaign. really just trying to be obedient and walk in the steps that he has directed. It's kind of surreal to see it all manifesting because my business experience, my lived experience, all of those things are coming together based on this moment right here and everything that's at risk and at stake in this election. So midterms are important, super important this year in Texas.
They are. And I love what you just said. All of your experience has come and culminated into this moment. I'm a firm believer that nothing is wasted and that all of our steps are ordered.
Yes.
And sometimes it may look like a bunch of pieces of the puzzle just strewn in the box.
Yes.
And then you look and you're like, oh, I needed this experience to be able to do
Exactly.
this, and I needed that experience to be able to do that.
Yes.
So what are some of those experiences that you feel like have lent to you being able to be the prime person and the ready person for this right now?
Yeah, so I am a mother. I have 3 adult children, but I experienced abortion. So I have that experience, and I know the trauma that you go through. It's not an easy situation. I'm a Black woman, so we know maternal mortality here in Texas is really at the highest of any state, and that's a risk. And so by taking away rights for women, then we are essentially assigning Black women to a death sentence. So that's one experience. I was a former election judge. So in the 2020 elections, I actually helped get people through the polls so that they could vote and exercise their right. I'm a VDR. I help people get registered to be able to vote. So that's another experience. I think about my insurance and financial services experience and really just everything that goes along with that, protecting people, recover from the unexpected, realize their dreams. That is just something I have experience with. And so as we talk about Texas being one of the great business economies, 9th largest in the world, right? We need business-minded people to ensure that not only our large corporations, but also our small businesses thrive in this economy. And right now, we don't have that. We have, folks that are really just focused on just the top and not the small businesses, which we know they are the backbone. So in my day job, by trade, I actually help with compliance and regulation and oversight for 300 small business owners, independent contract agents. So I have that experience as well. I'm a product of public education right here in the state of Texas, and public education is at risk right now. So I'm passionate about trying to ensure that we honor that, we protect our teachers. My son is a special education teacher, and he is struggling, just like many of our teachers. He's struggling financially because they don't get paid enough. There is a lot of funds that are available, billions of dollars in the state of Texas that we are not using to help pay our current educators or our retirees. So that's another experience that I can readily talk about. My best friend, she's a teacher, and as I think about just the trauma that they have to deal with mentally themselves, as well as taking care of the students that are in their care, all of those souls that they're responsible for. So I want to ensure that we have common sense gun legislation. I haven't had that experience, fortunately, to me and my family or to any of my beloved friends, but I never want any family to have to go through that. So I can go on and on. I'll just pause here and see what else.
I'm just listening to all this, and I'm like, oh, my God, all of these things are at stake. Like, everything is super important. Yeah. It's important, life and death. In certain cases, many cases.
Yes.
I was actually just having a conversation a couple weeks ago with someone about the abortion laws. And I was just saying, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for abortion, because my mom actually had to have an abortion medically before she was pregnant with me.
Yep.
And I think about, I was talking to a doctor, and they were saying, a lot of doctors are afraid now.
Yes.
They don't want to make the decisions. They don't want to help women. And like you said, Black women like you and I already, we suffer with higher mortality rates when it comes to that. And so it's just, when I think about all those things, and then even, the schools and school shootings and all that stuff, it's like, it's not playtime, people.
No, it's real.
Time to really buckle down and get serious about where we're going.
Absolutely. So. And it's funny, I was speaking to someone earlier today before I actually came in here, and they were saying, no, I just don't vote. And and I know it's like, how can you not? How can you not? There's too many things at risk. And I just want everyone to know that your no vote is a vote. So it's really important that we do our education, our research, and we actually make informed decisions and exercise that right that others died trying to give us.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, anytime the poll is open, I don't care if we're voting Mickey Mouse versus Donald Duck, I am putting my name on the ballot, and you will see me. The people at my poll, I've been going there for years. They know me.
Yes.
It's a thing. I'm serious, and I'm a VDR too, so
perfect.
I am very serious about voting. And when people tell me no or they haven't registered, I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on, I'm like reaching in my back seat.
Yes,
Like,
have it in the trunk. It's already ready.
Let me help you out, because we need to get you, to the polls. So, House District 61.
Yes.
It's a brand new district.
Yes.
How does a new district even happen? How? So you would be the first person to sit in the seat for this particular district.
Well, I'll clarify. So every 10 years, we have the census, right? So that's done, and that actually counts all of the citizens, right, within the United States. So in the state of Texas, we have a redistricting, we don't have a committee. Every state has to do redistricting. They have to redraw the maps in their states after the census. So the census does the counts, and then the states then reapportion the citizens of that state to make sure that there is fair and equal representation. So in the state of Texas, we don't have an independent party that actually helps draw the maps. We allow our current elected officials to draw their own maps.
Oh my God.
So you can imagine what happened.
What?
Yes. So we have our maps. They were drawn, and part of the process in Texas, and I have to keep emphasizing that every state is different. But in Texas, we do. The legislature is supposed to not only draw the maps, but allow the citizens to have testimony, to give input on the maps. And that happened, but it happened in the cloak of darkness. So I say all that to say this new map was drawn, and the number 61 has been in Texas. We've had a House District 61, but this is the new 61. So it got moved around. So the numbers kind of got readjusted when they drew these new maps. So long story short, the previous House District 61 representative in Texas, his last name was King as well.
Oh, so you
There's
already
no relation to us.
Well, you have a little,
However,
omen going, a good omen going for you.
Yes, absolutely. So the person who's in Austin who will be putting the new placards together, they can leave it as House District 61 and King on the end.
There you go.
Yeah, but this new district is a brand new seat. It's because Texas actually gained population. We all know 95% of that population, if you didn't know, was with people of color.
Really?
95% of that growth, yes, in Texas with people of color. However, the maps were drawn in such a way that you would not understand that, because they took away seats from those who would actually have the apportionment to show that it matched that. So we're battling against that. So we're a lot of headwinds going against us on this. But this newly drawn district is an open seat. So again, we talked about things don't just happen, they happen according to God's will. So the previous person who was in the seat, he stepped down, he resigned. So it's an open seat, which means there is no incumbent. So myself and my current opponent, we are both vying for the same seat. Neither of us has held this position, so it's open to both of us. Wow. This seat actually encompasses 7 different cities, which is really wild and crazy. Again, as I talked about the map being drawn, it didn't have to be drawn that way, but they did it that way. So it actually takes parts of 7 different cities. So it's not any one whole city, except for one. There's one small town called Weston, which is actually the oldest city in Collin County. So it's pretty unique. The other 6 cities are Anna, Melissa, Celina, Prosper, Frisco, and McKinney. And of course, Weston is right in the middle of all of that. So
it sounds like you're kind of going up the 75 corridor to maybe 380.
Yes.
And like is it like a J, like looping around?
It actually makes like a number 3 if you look at the map, the way they drew it in and out of communities, in and out of communities. And you might ask, why would they do that?
That was going to be my next question.
Yeah,
Go for it.
Part of that, in my thinking, is that they wanted to go in and out of the demographics based on the communities in those different areas, those different cities. That's called cracking. So in terms of redistricting, we know that has to happen. We know that we have to take those census numbers and we have to apportion them according to the states to give everyone equal representation. So about 200,000 plus people. That's what each of the representatives will have. Okay. There were 200,000 people in any one of those cities I just mentioned.
I was going to say McKinney, I know, has about 250 itself.
Yeah.
So
there was some method to their madness to try and do some things. But nonetheless, they did not see this candidate coming. With my experiences, my background, my passion, and my skills and abilities. So I am ready to represent the diverse community that we have in House District 61, because it is very diverse and it's beautiful, and we need to make sure we have proper representation for that.
I'm excited.
I am too.
I really, really am. So I'm in your district.
Oh, yay, thank you.
I will be voting for you.
I would love to earn your vote.
I will be voting for you. Now, when you say I would love to earn your vote, I love it because we met in person about, 2-3 weeks ago?
Yes.
And I asked you, because you gave me some of your cards and everything, and I said, what are you going to do for me? Right? And you looked at me like, girl.
200,000 of you.
Right. But, I mean, I know that that's a question that many people have. And in some of the more local elections, it's very hard to find information about the candidates, what they stand for. So a lot of times people are just going based upon name recognition from what they see on the signs on the street.
Very true. Very true.
So what is it that you are going to do for your constituents like me?
Yes. Well, one thing is just like what we're doing right now, having a conversation, being accessible to the constituents, making sure that I have a listening ear, right? Sometimes we have representatives that never go into the community. They never talk to the folks in the community. So you ask yourself, how are they voting based on the community? They're not. They're voting based on their own ideas, their own thoughts, their own agenda, if you would. Again, I mentioned 7 different cities are in House District 61. So I have been visiting all 7 cities on the regular, not just one meeting, not just one set of attendees or, participants, but all the citizens. I'm trying to be in every single aspect of the community, whether it's at church, whether it's a school function, whether it's a school board meeting, a city council meeting, a picnic in the park, at the high school, at the colleges, at the businesses, just making sure that I am there being a listening ear, trying to understand what's important to you. Because I can't advocate for you if I don't know what's important to you. And so we just want to make sure that we have the proper representative, the person who's actually going to, help vote our values, and not just someone who's voting based on the pockets that have been lined from corporations or lobbyists and that type of thing. We've been there, we've done that. It's time for a change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm going to take it to something, this isn't even in my notes, but I'm going to bring it up because I just told you I live in your district.
Yes.
And during Snowmageddon.
Yes.
You already know where I'm getting ready to go with this, with the grid.
Yes.
And we have all these people, like you just said, this influx of people moving here and all of that stuff. How high of a priority is the energy, the infrastructure, and all those things? I'll just speak to you. I can't speak for every other candidate that might be on the ballot, but for you, because for me, I'm telling you, when that happened, I was like, let me find my boxes. I got to get up out of here because this is crazy.
Again, I mentioned, so I want my children, my grandchildren to grow up and live here, but not only Snowmageddon, Storm Uri, whatever you want to call it, but everything that's been happening. So many people are talking about leaving the state, and that's ridiculous. We have such a beautiful state. There should be no reason why we're having the challenges we have. So during that storm, I thought to myself, okay, first of all, we knew this was going to happen because it happened 10 years prior to that. I was here when that happened, right? So we knew then something was wrong, and we did nothing, or what we did obviously didn't fix anything. So I work in insurance and financial services. I know there's things that you can do to avoid. There's things you can do to prepare. There's things you can do to mitigate. There are some steps you could take. So 10 years, and we did nothing to prepare for this. So for me personally, I want to make sure that's a top priority. It's unbelievable and inconceivable to me. They were in session when it happened.
Whoa,
they were in session when
that.
it happened. And yet it was not a priority in this past session. Like, how do you do that? How do you not address the elephant in the room?
And you
People
live here.
died.
Yes.
People died in their
Yes.
own homes.
They died. They lost their property.
Yeah.
I have a ton of neighbors that moved
Yes.
because their homes either caught fire,
Yep.
were flooded, or
Yep.
were just completely damaged, and they had to find somewhere, and so they moved into the apartments where I live. I mean, it's just
Ridiculous.
it's very ridiculous that so
And-
many lives were.
Absolutely. And who's been held accountable or responsible for that? No one. No one. And yet we had leaders, elected leaders, who left the state so that they could be comfortable, so that they would be okay.
Right.
And then tried to hide that fact. So we need changes. I mean, bottom line, we need changes. Where was I when all of this happened? I was in my home. Fortunately, I just had the rolling blackouts, but still, I was still able to stay in my home. I had to have my sister come over because she was probably going to be one of those casualties because her stuff was off the entire time.
Wow.
Right? And it's ridiculous, totally ridiculous. And again, it could have been prevented. But yet we have leaders who are not, still today, still not admitting fault, still not holding those responsible. Instead, we are paying for it. Our electricity is going up, right? We have bills now that we're paying for all of that still, and they weren't held accountable. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's time for a change.
So earlier we talked a little bit about voter apathy.
Yes.
When you're out, you're going to these different cities and you're meeting people in the community, you're trying to rally them together. What do you tell them? What's your stake in the ground to hopefully and prayerfully
Yes.
motivate them to want to take action and actually vote? Not just register,
Yes.
but get to the poll and vote.
Absolutely, because right now we're in the midst of get out the vote time, right? So we've done all the education, we've done the registration. Now it's activation time. Now it's time to get people to the polls. Early voting started on Monday, and of course it was storming on Monday. So we're still trying to get people to go out, even in the rain, right? Because again, people died for that right, and they went through all types of things. So what can we do? So the thing I try and make sure I do is I try and make sure I'm thinking, what's in it for them? Right? Because we can't force anyone to change. We can't force anyone to do anything. So how can I help them understand what's important in this election? So again, this is my natural tendency. I'm a listener first. I listen to what you're saying and what you're not saying, and then I try and address it that way. So for folks who may say, well, I'm not, nothing's wrong, everything's fine in my life. Well, do you have a loved one who may be, not receiving the proper medical attention right now? Do you have someone in your life maybe that's not receiving the proper amount of money that they might need to be able to sustain their life? Do you care about the roads and bridges that are falling apart? Have you noticed the increase in folks experiencing homelessness? Just trying to understand where they might be in their thinking, their logic, their day-to-day. And again, I think about day-to-day because we're all out here living our lives and, we trust that someone's going to do something or something's going to get better or, that's out of my control. But when you think about it and you help people connect the dots between maybe a challenge that they are facing or someone that they love is facing and how it could be fixed locally at the state level, then the light bulb comes on. Then they're like, oh, well, I didn't realize that, responsibility for that was at the state level. I didn't realize that, I want to open this small business and, those funds, actually, I could have more access to capital if the state, loosened up or gave me some different guidelines and gave me some opportunities. I didn't realize prescription drug costs, could actually be reduced if we expanded Medicaid. I didn't realize. So all those things. So I try, again, just as a mom of 3, listen first, and then try to help people understand what's in it for them and solution solve there.
I love that because so many times what I hear is, everybody wants to throw it on the president.
Oh, yeah.
Because, every 4 years, that's the big hype. That's what's in the news. Everybody knows and, whatever. But it's your DA.
Yes.
It's your state reps.
Yes.
It's, the Railroad Commission here in
Absolutely.
Texas, which doesn't even really oversee railroads. They oversee oil and gas.
Yes.
All these different things that come into play. And you wonder why your utility bills are higher or all this other stuff. And like you said, it's really the local elections. And that's why I'm so passionate about midterms.
Yes.
Because that's where the action really happens.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. They wait every 4 years. And like you say, they get hype about the presidential election, and then all the, the blame or the fame goes to the president. And it's like, no, there's so many other people that are working, just like you on the local level to make things actually happen that actually affect you and your kids and your family. So,
and I'm trying to do that on a positive way. I think this last session, again, I keep bringing it up because it was so harmful. Every piece of legislation that got passed, and I think they had over 7,000 bills that got brought up or introduced in that session. But yet the ones that actually passed and came out were so harmful, so harmful. So again, it doesn't have to be this way. We have a choice. We could choose leaders who actually want to help us instead of hurt us and protect us and serve us, as opposed to what they've been doing. So we have to get serious about this.
Well, I'll be seriously at the poll tomorrow. I didn't go today, but I meant to go today, but I left your card at home with all the other candidates. Trust me, I go on websites and I do all my research and I map out who I'm going in.
Perfect.
I'm not just pressing buttons.
Perfect.
I know who I am voting for, so I will be there tomorrow morning.
I mean, because really, we do that with anything else that we buy in this world right now. Right? We have so much access to information. Why don't we do our research is beyond me. So there is really no excuse right now. We have a lot on the line. We have a lot of information that's out there. My goodness, if you Google my opponent, woo.
Oh,
wow.
Let me do that when I get home. So before we wrap up, I love to always ask my guests my top 5 questions.
Yes.
They're always random questions, just fun, just because I like to get to know people. And I think that as an elected official, people should be able to know you on a somewhat personal level.
Love it.
So my first question is, what book has most influenced your life and career?
Wow. I am a reader. I was taught at an early age, leaders are readers and readers are leaders. So I read a lot. And now I've been doing a lot of audiobooks too. Ooh, I can only pick one.
Give me a couple. Whatever comes to your mind first.
Oh my goodness. Oh, a recent book that I read that really touched my heart in a way I didn't even realize it was going to is a book by Heather McGhee, The Sum of Us. It is so deep and powerful.
I've heard of that book. I just haven't picked it up yet.
It's recent, but it's ironic. During 2020, and George Floyd was murdered, and I just started reading and Cast by Isabel Wilkerson, and just a few books just kind of all lined up together. So it's interesting right now. That's what's on my heart and what I feel like I want to share with you. But a recent book that my boss, she just retired, and she gave to me on her way out was called A Love of Politics. And it's a beautifully written book as well, and it is what I needed at this moment. Because part of my campaign is all about bringing more love and light to Texas, because, again, I want to help people. So that book really is all about how we can actually still have politics, but politics about love, how we help people. So that's what's on my spirit right now. But there's so many books. Oh, my gosh.
Okay. So number 2 is, what do you enjoy doing just for you in your spare time?
Ooh, so I'm a massage girl. I need it. I have to have it, and it helps me so much. As a Black female, we carry a lot of weight, and we carry that stress in our shoulders and our back, and all. You don't even realize you have that until somebody helps you work through that. So that's my guilty pleasure, massage therapy. And my children will say, when I started getting them about 10 years ago, they could tell a difference.
Oh, wow.
I'm a better person after
my chiropractor, every time I just saw her this afternoon, and every time she's like, have you gone to get a massage yet? Your back is tight. So maybe that's just my second nudge that I need to go ahead and book.
There you go.
Next is, what movie can you watch over and over and over again?
Life.
With Eddie Murphy and Martin.
Yes, it is a classic movie.
That's funny.
Love it.
I love it. And what was the worst advice someone ever gave you?
To stop, to give up on something, that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, right? As a Black female, you know, sometimes
Yeah.
people judge you and they try and put you in a box, and
All the time.
they don't realize your excellence and your radiance and what you have to offer. And so, yeah, that was probably some advice. And fortunately for me, I had somebody else in my ear sharing that, you know, no, that is not accurate, and no, you were not meant to stay. You were meant to continue. You were meant to, pursue that you want to pursue.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And my last question is, what are you going to do on November 9th to celebrate your win?
I have already taken that day off.
Okay.
So the celebration will be on November 8th. We will be having an election night watch party and celebration because we will be making some herstory. Yes. So on November 9th, I have a massage scheduled already. And I will be recovering from November 8th from that celebration. Just a culmination of everything that everyone has done to make this a reality.
All right. I love it. I love it. I love it. So listen, if you are in Anna, Celina, Prosper, McKinney, Weston, I'm missing something.
Now I have to go in order. Anna, Melissa, Celina, Prosper, Anna, Melissa, Anna, Melissa, Weston, Celina, Prosper, Frisco, and McKinney.
Frisco. That was the one I was missing. All right. If you are in any of those cities within Collin County and Miss Sheena King is on your ballot, I need you to smack the button real hard to make sure that it like sticks and, you know, all that good stuff. I watched Scandal and they had that little scandal where they was messing with the voting machines. We're going to make sure that it sticks this time. And then when it prints out the ballot, make sure that it says her name on it, because we are going to make sure this sister is in office. So go vote. Early voting started Monday. When does it end?
November 4th. Friday,
November 4th. And then, of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th. So make sure between now and then you make sure your voice is heard. You get to the poll and grab a friend and take a friend, a coworker, an enemy. We don't care. Take them all to the poll and make sure that your voice is heard. So next week, we will be having another Bright Girl in Business here, Miss Darian Maples, and we are going to be talking all things about Black women in technology. We know that it's a huge push right now for women and girls in STEM, and so we are going to lean into that topic and talk tech. So don't miss us next week, same time, same place, 6 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube and Facebook for the Bright Girls in Business show. Until next time.
Build a brand that grows your business. Let BrightGirl Media take the guesswork out of marketing your business. Our team is dedicated to helping you build a brand that is so powerful it woos your ideal clients. We offer custom website development, email marketing, social media marketing, and more. With membership subscriptions as low as $39 per month, we have solutions for every budget. Let's create a plan of action to make sure your business wins. Visit us at brightgirl.media to learn how we can empower you